What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Dev Diary with Coshade
Hey!
and Sharkbait
Hello.
and myself, Puddnhead, and we are talking about the Mage Wars 1.0 wrap up with including, but not limited to, the Elementalist and the Monk. And today we're going to go over some changes that we made in the last few weeks and talk about the future.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We do have some art featured.
Sweet!
We've gotten
Featured
all
art.
of the art that we're going to get for this set. And, in the Dropbox, you can find it all on there. So, all the cards have been updated. There's no more placeholder art. If there is placeholder art, let me know, because it shouldn't be there.
Yeah, there shouldn't be.
But, we have some pretty, pretty badass looking mages here, I think. This...
I am a fan of the art. This is way better than the Academy Elementalist.
Oh, yeah. This might be
the Monk Academy, but...
Might be my favorite mage art, the Elementalist right now. Anyway, first off, I just want to start this stream off dedicated to you, Furno412. He's our championship winner in our first playtest tournament. So he basically exploited all the cards that needed to be balanced in a proper way at the right time in order to take the championship, and he gets a free set because of that. And I do want to announce that we are going to have our next playtesting tournament starting on October 18th, and I'm going to have links up in the YouTube VOD once it's released, and I'm also going to post it all over. So if you're in the Mage Wars community at all, you'll find it.
That is 10 days from this recording.
Yep, and so we might have balance changes that happen again before that tournament, and even during the tournament we have balance changes. Like, not during a game, but between games.
Right in the middle of the game.
Right in the middle of the game.
Elementalists.
Furno, I don't like what you're doing. You can't do that anymore.
You're at channel 0 now for the round. This is temporary rule. No. So we're gonna have the same prize, of course. You can win a set. Furno, if you win again, you can have 2, or you can give it away to someone. But regardless, yeah, we're gonna have that again. So check it out. Let's see, what do we cover? All art is now on playtesting cards. So one of the things we're starting to do is we're starting to look at grammar. Because we're at the point that we're looking for a semblance of conformity to other Mage Wars cards, and I know Mage Wars cards throughout the time, they've all changed how they look. Sometimes they refer to you, sometimes they refer to the mage. Like, we're just looking for, at the very least, this set to be consistent within itself. And for at least things like attack bars and stuff to look consistent. I don't think there's ever been a release set that's been consistent even within itself. So we're gonna cross our fingers.
There's been a couple close ones.
We're gonna make it so that there are no cut off lines or dangling things.
Yeah.
Or left off sentences.
And because all of the images are on the octagons, courtesy of Sharkbait and Coshade teaming up on that one, you guys all have access to proofreading stuff. Just send the things that you need changed to arcaneduels@gmail.com.
Yep.
And we'll implement the changes.
All of you guys have actually been a huge help. Like, a lot of the changes we make, it's because of suggestions. Just little things that we miss, and it's really appreciated. So we're still doing balancing. We are adding 2 cards because we have art for those. It literally is art made for the Elementalist Monk, but we're most likely not going to add any new cards. That is like that. We think we've identified all the OP cards, and while I'd love to bring a bunch of weak cards up to a standard, like, we're pretty much at that point. And to completely contradict myself, let's talk about new cards. Snowstorm Barrier. Okay, so this is a conjuration that attaches to a creature, and basically it reduces damage you take by 2 per attack. It also has the melting trait, so it's temporary. And it's kind of a powerful card. So I do want to point out that it's a conjuration. So if you're going to choose to use this on yourself, you can't teleport yourself without destroying it. Same thing with minor teleport, or lesser. You can't lesser teleport with this attached to you. So, while it seems pretty strong right at the bat, you're kind of stuck in some ways, not a lot. But, it also, gives your opponent a chance to teleport. It's kind of like a weird, Tanglevine reverse. It's just kind of an interesting card. And, whether or not this is balanced or not right now, we'll see. But we're hoping that people want to try it.
Hey, could it give you ice or frost -1?
It would. You think it would? I don't know. It would reduce ice by going through ice. I don't know.
That would allow it to interact with frozen tundra really well, because you could put this on yourself.
Oh, and then melting would go away. Interesting.
Melting would go away, and you could leave without needing to have bare skin.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Let's make a note of that, and yeah, we'll try that out. But regardless, Siren, I think, will be interested in this spell. Obviously the Elementalist doesn't really use teleports, so it's good for him. But the Wizard, you kind of have to play around it.
It is not a Hydro spell, which means that Naya can't cast it.
Yep, that's right.
You have to cast it with your Siren yourself.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then
Wait a minute.
Deep Freeze can't be attached to a mage, Farkas. So you could use this on another creature and then Deep Freeze it. But
can't Naya cast it because it's a water spell?
I think she can cast Hydro or Song spells.
Yeah,
Why does she
I think
cast
more
Leviathan scale then?
Maybe you're right.
Maybe she can cast water spells.
Yeah, I think she can cast it.
I have to double check.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I was just totally agreeing and not double checking. So
It's good. Just a heads up.
I agree.
Regardless, I think it has some interesting uses for both ways in terms of how to counter it. It does just die on its own, and it is really good because you get theoretically 10 life, but most likely it's gonna die and you'll get 4, maybe 6.
It's kind of like ablative. Yeah.
And plus the flame +2 is just, if you are a fire mage, you're probably just gonna, just hit right through it. Anyway. Second move. We do have a new melee attack spell.
Sweet.
It's called Tidal Kick. And
be like water, my friends.
I don't know why it looks weird here, but it looks fine whenever I edit it. But
that's interesting. It looks like that when I got it too. I realized there.
Like the little
the little shader here.
Yeah, right.
Huh. Anyway, it's it's just another attack spell that I think Siren's going to be able to use. The ability to apply a slow to the end of the round. Obviously, it's something you want to cast initially before they take their action. And melee spells go with it. If you are some sort of melee mage, like I don't know, a monk, the ability for them to be slow means they probably can't get away. Just kind of interesting spell. And that's our 2 new ones.
Sweet.
Yep, they look good.
This one can benefit from Melee Plus, by the way.
Yep. Yes, it can. I believe it can benefit from the ring, but I have to check for that for the Siren.
Yeah, it's a water. It's Hydro.
This one is a Hydro, and the ring does
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So Sirens, eat your heart out with these 2 spells. Hopefully, those 2 spells help in some sort of way.
Well, this is automatically a 4 dice attack for the Siren.
Mm-hmm. In a water zone. That's right. Mm-hmm. And they're already hindered. You just make them slow.
And if you have a ring, then it's a 5 dice attack.
Mm-hmm.
Without investing
in
a
ring with being initiative, it's 6.
And we're looking at levels of holy mages with luminous blast and stuff like that. With just some basic buffs. So I do want to talk really quick because we're getting a lot of feedback about the alternate Wizard Force Master. We're talking a lot of people. So for anyone that doesn't know, there is art out there that was leaked to be promo art for an alternate Wizard Force Master.
A long time ago.
It's like a levitating Force Master and a time
years ago
time wizard, And there's been a lot of speculation on that. And the whole point of this set is to wrap up everything in every spoiler and make sure the community is happy with basically saying like they did fulfill their promises in the end, right? That it doesn't matter how long it took, I guess. So I right now have pitched some ideas, and the abilities aren't going to be for sure what it ends up with, but I've just sort of like eked it out there to say, can we just get these cards in? This is kind of why we're like trying not to add new cards, because like little things like this come up where it's like, we have to add 4 cards to the set if we do this, and that's a lot.
And we don't really want to cut any of the stuff we've already both made and tested for it, so.
And it's one of those things that I have to make sure that it's not going to be like, well, it's going to cost like $8 extra because we went over a certain card point where it's like now the next level. But regardless, I think a lot of people would be happy to have this alternate Wizard Force Master, and then suddenly this set has 4 mages that come out. So
I guess worst case scenario, we just release the mage art and make it so that they work on the regular.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
They wouldn't have any extra cards though.
Yeah, so we won't have any additional cards. So the whole point of them is that it's just going to be alternate mages, and that's it. The abilities would probably be something to make it work with the other cards, and I'm not going to say that they're going to be like at the level of like a PVS or something like that at all. But better to have them than not, I guess.
We'll see. We'll see if it seems like a good idea.
If people don't like it, then of course we can just nix it. But I just wanted to put the note up there that, don't be surprised when you see that in the coming weeks.
We are talking about it.
Soon, TM.
So Elementalist. So let's talk about balance changes. This is probably going to be the most of this conversation. And I'll kind of pass it off to you guys too as we go along. But if you guys don't want to talk about it, I can too.
Yeah, I don't mind.
So, we've had testing for the Elementalist for a couple months now. And in general, a lot of the feedback hasn't changed for Elementalist. And it's not like we haven't had games. So it's just sort of like one of those things where I was reluctant at first to really make these changes. But, I really do want to say that we're listening to the community. And so we're going to give some interesting nerfs to the Elementalist. And I'm hoping it doesn't turn into a mage that can't be used. But, again, if he's too weak, we'll just buff it. So worst off. Spellbook points.
Depending on your point of view.
So we're going to reduce the Elementalist down to 125. That's 10 points from what it was. A lot of players have been normalizing taking like 3 regrowth belts, still taking dispels, teleports, stuff like that. So I don't want players to be able to take out of school spells in the way that they have right now. So I think just by reducing it by 10, I'm hoping that they're like, well, now I can't just cover every basis. And, there is a tradition from Academy to kind of carry it over to having more spellbook points. But if it's just like, well, now they only took... if they took out attack spells, that's actually really good. 'Cause that's how a lot of players finish it. But, some sort of way they're going to have to change their books. They can't deal with what they've been, sort of dealing with. And, a typical Elementalist book is Battleforge with the Amulet, and then the Spawn Point, and then just casting creatures. And a lot of players just Spawn Point back and usually get overrun. And so we're hoping by, sort of reducing this, that helps that sort of dynamic there. Next thing is Fire Rune. Before it just gave 2 additional dice.
Yeah, and that was
no, it's specific.
Yeah, additional dice means it doesn't function like melee or range plus, that it applies to all of the dice in an attack. So that was not the original intent of the glyph. So we are going to change it to be +2 melee, +2 ranged, rather than additional dice. Even though additional dice is easier to say and fits better, it's wrong.
Yeah. And, we looked at the actual token. The rule book for Academy, because we can't change a token. That's why we're sort of stuck with +2. In Academy, it says you gain 2 additional dice in the rule book, but the actual token itself just says +2 to the attack. And that +2, I think, is where we have that leeway to define it.
Yeah.
And I just want to do this as a community question here. Elemental Resonance and Natural Fury. We see Resonance get used a lot, but we see Natural Fury get used sometimes. And I've heard a lot of players say that there's too much stuff on the Elementalist card when they first look at it. And I know it's Mage Wars Arena, so obviously complexity is probably one of the most complex games I've played. But I just want to put it out there, do we want to remove one of these Furies and Elemental Resonance, just give them a punch and make it an easier to read card? And that's just kind of a community question. I just kind of wanted to really get a judge, because I've heard people talk about it, but a lot of times people talk about when they don't like something, but we don't see a lot of people when they do. So I'm just bringing the question up. If you were to teach your friends and they looked at this card, would they basically be like, let me just not do this card? Because it's just too much. And I do want to point out...
The intent was to put it on the card and not in the rulebook, though, kind of like the Paladin. So for what it's worth, we actually were able to fit almost all of it on the card.
And I do want to point out that there are other mages that don't have all their text in the card. But we've gotten the feedback that people like all the stuff on the card. But we also have feedback now that there's too much stuff on the card. So imagine if Paladin had every aura printed on the ability card, and you never had to look it up in the rulebook. Essentially, we could go down that route if it makes it easier to look, but we probably won't have a printed rulebook. So, it's sort of like an interesting, dynamic here that we're talking about. We could just give him a basic melee attack and just have runes too, or glyphs. Sorry, not runes. That's Warlord. But I don't know. I'm just kind of putting it out there just to see what people think about it. Because I don't want to say, no, we're absolutely doing this, and I don't care what the community thinks,
We all have opinions, but we want to hear yours.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Steam Elemental. Okay, so we have a series of minor changes here. So I'm just gonna let Shark read through it and just talk about them really quick.
Cool. This one is when he dies, obscured goes away, as intended.
Yeah, it wasn't
nothing crazy on that one.
Wording to clarify for it working how it's intended.
Our dog is deciding it's a great time to also bother
all right,
me about.
I could talk instead if you or if Puddin' you want to talk, you can go for it too.
Sir Rickvald, the Tireless Guardian.
He always picks the worst time.
This guy has gotten a few nerfs. There were some loud people thinking that he would wreck the entire game by his randomness. So once per round is the ability now instead of whenever. So only once per round can he gain a guard marker by receiving 0 damage. He can still gain guard marker other ways. And the Mace and Chain attack has been reduced to 4 dice from 5 dice. And we still want to see this guy get used and see what happens in games just to make sure that we haven't over-nerfed him. So, let us know.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the same level of Severe. So think about the utility you get from Severe. Apply it to this guy. Just think about it that way. You still have infinite defenses. He's still pretty tough. But, I think we're getting close either way. So, hoot.
Wind Elemental has been a super performer in many games. So we are adjusting his numbers a little bit. The main melee attack is reduced the number of dice and reduced the push chance. And it does less to flying creatures than normal wind attacks would. Just for making game balance, basically. The zone attack has lost its eye. And been pushed to a less chance for an effect. And then if you can even see that tiny little text down there, the
okay, it
some
is really small. I'm going to be honest. You're right.
some clarifications in the use of his ability.
I might have to reduce the bars and actually make the text.
He also has the cool new art.
Yeah, man. New art for these guys, which is great.
Okay, yeah, you can't read that at all, can you?
No,
Not from here.
Nobody can read that. What does it say? When wind elemental moves between zones not separated by a wall with a passage blocked or passage attack traits, then you may push one creature in from that zone into the wind elemental's destination zone.
Why not just say by a wall?
We could say that.
Because you can go through wall of fog.
Okay.
I mean, we can say that too. There's probably gonna be more changes to this card. I'm gonna be honest, but
We'll keep tinkering.
I mean, basically, we saw in a lot of games. You know, we saw Wind Elemental perform well, but people are investing 30 to 35 mana into this guy because they cast it, like turn 4, turn 5, and it goes for 10 plus rounds.
They're also getting a 4 mana discount on it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So maybe around 30. So we are nerfing it a little bit, and I'm hoping this is as much as it needs, but we'll clean it up so you can actually read it.
As an aside, Cyborg Elf, the question is this online version of Mage Wars the only and real future of Mage Wars? No, this is actually going to be a printed set that people can purchase and can be delivered to your house, and you can play.
The playtesting is being done online though. That's why
the
like that.
Regular invested and diverse community of Mage Wars is located all across the world, and it is easier to playtest online than physically at this time.
Yep.
Yeah, we're live. So Stormfront Elemental. So we did some nerfs. Lightning Strike, basically, its range attack. We made its dice 4 instead of 5, and it deals dazes on 8 to 10 instead of 7 to 9, and the stun is just 11 up now. Pretty much standardizing this creature. I don't anticipate much more changing with him. It seems like every time someone manages to really get in and attack this guy, he just dies really fast. And I think that's kind of the point of him, right? He's kind of like a Gorgon Archer version of that, just more expensive and flying now. So I mean, that's just a really basic nerf. Natural Pandemonium. So again, we're trying to rein in the Elementalist because there's just so many games we're seeing with him, and honestly, it's that mid game we're trying to talk about here. So a lot of these nerfs are based on his mid game being weaker, so that players can sort of keep up with, they're trying to do spawn points and stuff like that. So the schools are ors instead of ands, and the whole point of that is that the runes only get flipped now on ors, you only have one. You only have one rune.
Yeah, one rune.
So theoretically, that's reducing your end of mana usage for that. And we also raised the mana cost to 12 from 10. So that's 2 additional mana gone.
Basically,
right off the bat.
Removed the rune interaction from Natural Pandemonium.
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep. And we just clarified that now you just have to place the creature in Pandemonium Zone. And when you reanimate, it has to go back to Pandemonium Zone. So, basically, so it's supposed to be like a swirling anomaly of elements, because it's like ancient magic, replicating, there's some story, I forget exactly what. But basically, it comes back through there because it's connected to this Natural Pandemonium, so it makes sense going back to it. Also, we made the minimum cast 1 to cast and reanimate creatures.
Yep.
Just because our champion Inferno really exploits those well, and I just think 1 makes more sense. I think it'll be less frustrating to a lot of players to have 1. Whether or not it impacts the game a ton, I don't know. And I'm just going to put out there that if we need to nerf things further with the Elementalist, we might just make Reanimate just cost full. Because that would really like hit a lot of points with the Elementalist then of not being able to cast Leather every round if they want to keep up with the creatures. So yeah.
Might have to run out of school mana crystals.
The 3 spellbook
Weird.
points.
That's not that bad.
Yeah, it's actually pretty expensive for for the monk to actually gain channeling, to be fair. If they
For the
want to do it
monk?
on
Yeah,
skill. Because the flower and the crystal is both triple. Shark, do you wanna take over?
Sure. We on to Elemental Mail now?
Yeah.
Alright, we remove the acid -1. I keep going to the easy ones.
Yeah, we're gonna reword the life bond to make sure that it works with the trait also.
Oh yeah, the intent is that you get life bond with one creature.
Yeah.
Play it that way. If the grammar don't start technicalitying people out of it.
I
guess.
love this armor.
Yeah, the armor looks good.
Especially compared to the Academy one. This is like just neat.
Oh my. Yeah, way better. Scrolling on to Ankh of Asira. The mana cost was lowered from 6 to 8, and the text affects enemy creatures instead of all non-living. I think it was previously not all non-living, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
It was
updated that to make it usable.
So you used to be able to cast this on the opponent, and if they were a Necromancer in a graveyard, they would just hurt their own guys.
It used to be stupid.
I mean, which is kind of cool for 8 mana, but basically it was like it was just never used. Like this card, I've seen maybe once.
Casting it onto your opponent's a weird thing.
You could still do that.
Yeah, you can.
No, it was only enemy, right?
It's supposed to be when the opponent gets it, it would be their allied creatures then.
No, it's still yours.
No. Like if you have like demonic amulet, if you have demons,
okay,
you
I
can
see,
benefit
yeah.
from it. It's the same thing with the Ankh. I mean, check me on that if I'm wrong.
That's
chat.
the difference between control and own.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
So my hope is a lot of people have been talking about, some of the new elemental stuff is strong. We're rewording Ankh to maybe give you more options. I mean, being able to deal 2 damage potentially around, depending on how you look at it. It has some interesting choices here.
Yeah.
It is level 2, so I imagine taking it out of school is going to be tough.
Which is, I mean, it's not exactly that's kind of the intent, and it's not exactly like stupid expensive. But
Castiel can cast it. That's right. Yep.
So this when an enemy non-living creature enters this mage's zone, it is contingent upon volitional or the movement of the other creature and not of your mage, right? So if you walk into a zone full of zombies, you don't trigger this.
That's right. Yeah, you can't just like walk around and do it. But if you're like a Force Master and you pull them in, they would take a damage in that pull.
Right.
So yeah, I'm hoping this starts seeing more use. I know a lot of people have ignored it, and I have too. So we buffed it.
We'll see how it goes.
yeah.
Feedback is still necessary.
Oh yeah.
Yes. As always.
And we did a little cleanup to the strikes, right?
Yeah. So all the strikes we reduced from 2 range down to 1. We basically want mages to commit more if they want their iron golems or bears to be able to strike things.
You got to be in the danger zone.
Yep, exactly. And we also made it so that the chances are just more in line with a level 1 spell instead of a level 2 spell. So just burns here. I do want to note that you can still get double effect rolls with this. And that's one of the things I'm watching. So, for instance, if you have like, I don't know, like a rot zombie, and you give him a flame strike, he could rot and flame at the same time. So, if that's too strong, we'll remove the effects from this. But for now, we're leaving it. So, yeah.
So your water elemental could do hydro and fire damage at the same
That's
time.
right. That's right, yeah.
And you could cancel out the burns.
Yeah, I don't know if because it has
And
extinguish with it, so it would be your opponent.
defrost and extinguish.
So your opponent would apply. No, you would have to do extinguish at the beginning of the attack, so it wouldn't do anything.
No, and it wouldn't do anything that time. But if
Yeah.
you're consistently flame
Yes.
striking your water
Yeah.
elemental, you're reducing its damage.
It'd be kind of silly, but yes, you could do that. Lightning strike, same thing. You know, we're reducing the chances, range 1 instead, things like that. We're just bringing it in line. Holy strike, same thing. We're reducing it to range 1.
Yeah, the range 2 is a bit nuts.
This actually has a lot of potential, Holy Strike, if you're a Holy Mage and use the temple, whatever.
Yeah.
Just saying, if you use
yeah,
with, like
light stacking.
Yeah, if you use like Knight of Westlock
It
or something.
allows you. Yeah, it allows you to use non-clerics
Mm-hmm.
to get that temple extra damage and the Alfea buff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You're running Alfea and Holy Strike and some Knights of Westlock.
The cool part is a lot of different synergies.
Oh yeah.
You can really punish people.
And I want to point out that all these are also martial cards, so the monk can really start to get different statuses with all this. Just gives her more options there.
You can give your monk extra attacks by using Thought Spore to cast these on your monk.
Oh yeah. Yes, absolutely you can.
Through a mind's eye.
Oh my god. I also want to point out that there's 2 cards here that are really good against Incorporeal.
Yes.
You know, whether you're lightning or holy.
I would take Holy Strike myself, unless
It's
Air
nice.
was in school.
I mean,
Because
Day's
you get
stunning.
You get that extra +1 versus non-living.
Yep, that's right. Screaming Zombie. This has been a promo that's been largely ignored, and I kind of expect it to still be ignored, but we're just going to buff the claws up to 3 dice, just because it has Bloodthirsty 0. Just a simple buff. I mean, it still has a psychic attack, so it's kind of weird in terms of using it. Mainly because it's, you know, psychic and ethereal in its Unholy Scream, which is kind of interesting.
I'd be interested if anybody actually uses this. Just curiosity.
Well, Psychic is ethereal, isn't it?
Well, they're different
Well,
terms, but
Psychic
you know.
is usually. Well, I think it usually gets paired.
Yeah.
Well, no, it usually gets paired with critical damage, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But anyway, we're just giving it a buff because I don't want to release this and it be totally bad. So if it still is,
just see if anybody actually uses it. I am curious about what it does when you do.
You know, if it's still bad, I can change it. But
That's what I mean. I want to see. I just want to see
Yeah.
how it goes.
Spiked armor, we're gonna reduce the mana down to 7 from 8.
For the same reasoning.
I mean, it's again 8 mana is just too much for like a damage berry that like doesn't seem to do enough for a lot of players. I think at 7 it's fine. I think 6 is actually too low.
Part of the problems with damage barriers is you have to be getting hit to be using them.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you know, with 2 armor it's something, but generally people don't like to be hit.
Yeah. I mean, Paladin can take it. I mean, it's such a weird card. It'd be good against like a Beastmaster or something like
This
that. I
might
guess.
be good as the 2nd or 3rd armor for the Dwarf Warlord, or
yeah.
as a I mean, you could use like you said, against a Swarm army too. You could use it there.
Oh, you could give it piercing +1 rune. With your
You can give a piercing one.
dwarf spiked armor.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can give it like
That'd be funny.
the runes actually make it interesting because you can give it extra armor, you can give it extra piercing.
The dwarf just
You
like
could-
adds
yeah.
more spikes.
Yeah, you could just run a whole bunch of what's it called? Song of Chant of Rage.
Too many good chess pieces for Warlord and Pally.
Yep.
You know, we should just make this Siren armor.
Siren only.
Yeah, just
Yep.
Siren only.
Siren only war
Make it-
equipment. Yeah, that'll
make
never
it
be
water.
used.
But I know what you mean. It does feel like that's how it is. But I mean, they are
Just-
equipment mages, I guess. But
And all you have to do is give it the pirate subtype, and then
it's
There you
the pirates. And
There you go.
Love it.
That's the guy
Um,
thinking outside the box.
Craven Werewolf, buffing a little bit. I'm just giving his piercing 1 to 2. And we changed so basically the reason why people didn't take this card is because it only worked on minor creatures.
Oh yeah.
Now it works on all living creatures damaged. I think it's theoretically usable now. I mean, it has decent life and armor. It's 2 more than a it's 2 more than a Timberwolf.
It's like getting Bloodthirsty without
Yep.
having to deal with Bloodthirsty, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't have a target requirement. I was about to ask what the difference was. I'm like, oh, it doesn't have a target requirement.
I mean, it is a canine, but I mean, it's warlock only, so you're probably not using it unless you're like resurrecting their red claws or whatever.
Why is it? Never mind.
It's just how the card's always been.
I know. That may be
Werewolves
worth
are
changing at
warlock
some point.
only. Don't you get it?
I mean,
werewolves could possibly be nature. Gosh, only half dog.
The fact is, I'm hoping people would actually consider it now, as opposed to just being like, only minor creatures, never. Like some, what is that one holy like wingless angel legendary Glorana, I think.
Oh, so.
Oh right.
Could have been such a cool card, but here we are.
All you had to do is give her flying.
There's something, yeah, something better. But anyway, Craven, I'm buffing. Woot.
It has been done.
I've decided that Glorana from now on is the ability to teleport 1 square before using her melee attack.
All right. I mean, if it was a promo card, I would probably actually change it to allow something. But these are all promos, so we're allowed to mess with them.
Yep. What do we got next? Ring of Healing.
Ring of Healing can now be
Now
cast by
we get it.
Cassio.
Yep, that's the reason it's on there.
But does not trigger Disciple of Radiance.
Does not. Yes.
Hooray, subtypes.
That's literally the intention. Is that Cassiel can cast it now, which the more things she can cast, I'm down. It makes sense that she can cast other things like armor, so might as well have her do this. She gives you the ring. And it has an angel on it, so it's like, I made this myself, it has me on it. Here you go.
Careful. She
That's
might
not
be
weird.
judging you when she gives you.
She is super judgmental. I like how if you give Cassiel bear strength, she gets more judgmental, and I think it's just people being intimidated by the giant
Extra
muscles.
judgmental.
Her words hurt more because she has muscles.
That's probably accurate.
Staff of Storms. Okay, so the original Staff of Storms promo had storm tokens. Those don't exist.
Yeah, we don't have storm tokens.
Is
Why don't
it?
Let's put key on it.
I'm just putting it out there. I know it doesn't make sense, but we can't make tokens. What if we just gave it ready tokens and use those as storm tokens?
I see nothing wrong with this. Or you could use the wrath tokens you get in the core set.
We could use Wrath.
Oh my gosh! Why not just give them charge tokens? Those are in Academy.
I mean, most people are going to use dice, right? Like that's how most people are going to do this.
Honestly, yeah.
We could do charge. Actually, that's a good point. Charge works.
Charge is only in Academy, though.
Oh, you're right.
Well, freeze is only in Academy too.
It doesn't change the fact that that's a bad idea.
The point is, we would need.
I think the ready tokens
We
are
would
good.
probably need core set tokens, but
The ready tokens, yeah, that's what I mean. The core set tokens have wrath. That was why I was joking. But no,
That's
the ready
pretty
tokens are
funny.
fine. Ready tokens.
yeah, but then you're gonna need like
Put
6 of
markers.
them. There's 4 of them total. I don't know how many Wrath tokens are.
Let's put stun tokens on it.
No, put guard markers.
guard markers. So
think it's
anyway,
fine with ready.
I really do want to apologize to everyone because like I really wish we could get storm tokens, and honestly, like it kind of sucks that we can't. But I don't want to redo the whole card because this has been tested for so long.
Nope,
Let's
I've got it.
Just do it.
Icthalid larva tokens.
Icthalid, yes. You could,
Because nobody uses those.
just put whatever tokens you want on them, as long as you understand what they are. You're good.
Aren't there other cards that have just generic tokens?
I think that's in Academy, right? It's
Probably.
it's the colored tokens. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, just place a token on it or
Oh
something.
no, that's
Can't you just-
Battlegrounds.
Can't you just say place a token on it?
I
Or-
could just say token. Place
I think
a
ready
token.
tokens are fine.
Whatever. I mean, ready to be specific. I don't care what people use. I'm just putting it out there because
Storm
yeah.
tokens didn't exist. That's why we changed it.
to me, ready tokens are toggles.
oh yeah, I know.
Not put on and pull off.
I know.
I mean, but they could be used that way.
The
in
fact is,
theory.
I know everybody has a lot of them, and I don't want it to be a situation
true.
where it's like I don't have these tokens.
I think
you
it's
know?
fine.
I mean, we could just put
mana or
damage.
damage on it.
It could
yeah.
put mana or damage.
Or dice.
I mean, most people, as I said, just use dice. They rarely actually use the tokens when it comes to stacking like this. So I'm going to hope that people do that.
I have to use wrath tokens, otherwise I will never play Valshalla.
You mean you'll never play Valshalla, so you're gonna use the wrath tokens for Storm, right?
I'm going to use zombie tokens. Personally, I'm a zombie token guy.
Zombie staff.
Yeah, I mean, this is cool.
Anyway.
I'm going to have an Ixalan Staff of Storm.
Ixalan, yes. All right, so that's all the new changes, stuff like that. We are seeing a very large lack of monk cards, so I'm gonna start playing monk more. Anyway.
Yeah.
We need to see if those strikes are overpowered, so cast them on your monk.
So we have a lot of flavor text cards here, and I'm going to post this all over the place, so you have to memorize this or go back to the VOD. But if you guys are interested in submitting quotes for any of these cards, shoot it over to arcaneduels@gmail.com. We got the contest names. I think we chose one of them from Facebook and one of the other ones from somewhere else.
It's true.
For those contest cards we had. This is the same deal. If you don't have to do all of them, just do like whatever ones you're interested in, or all of them if you want, and you might get chosen. And if you want, you can just do a quote. You can do a quote and maybe your like gamer tag, or just know like normal names. I don't want to be like Meltdown. Oh, it's like getting a pizza from Chad. I don't know. I made that up on the spot.
That's a good one. I think we should keep that.
I can tell.
Frost Elemental. It made me a snow cone. Bob. I don't want normal names.
As long as you don't attribute quotes to real life people that didn't actually say those things, then it should be fine.
And if we don't get submissions, then we'll figure something out.
Thanks, Obama.
Oh
Mark Twain.
Thanks, Obama. So yeah, I mean, this is a fun thing that if you guys want to be a part of the game, this will be printed forever for everyone to have. So, give it a shot. I talked about the mage ability cards. I have a long list here that no one's going to read, but basically we talked about it. Let me know what you think. Are the lines too far or not?
Yep. Feedback is appreciated at this point.
And that's the end of this document. So, for anyone that doesn't know...
we have to stop talking now, right?
No, we're going to keep talking.
All right, I'm fine.
Now that my dog is, not bothering me, I can talk.
So just like as a PSA, Shark has done a wonderful job of updating Octagon. He's calling it the final set. It'll probably remain that name, but we haven't really come up with a name for the set yet. I think we're calling it like Lost Grimoire.
I'm renaming it to the Final Countdown now, right?
The Final Countdown, that works. The fact is, the old playtesting sets and the promo cards, that's going away. So if you have books that use those, update them
to the new ones.
Update the promo cards to the final set.
The reason is your books won't load if you have any of the old playtest sets or playtest cards in them when I delete those sets, which will be happening at some point because we have to clean up between the old playtest promo. Like there's 4 sets. There's promo and 3 playtest sets that are getting cut at some point before or about the time we release the set. So be prepared. Start using the new stuff, and if you have books you want to use, update your cards. Because if you don't, you can't load the book anymore. Not that it's terrible to have to rebuild it, but
yeah, it's just inconvenient, And if you've had like years of old books, I know I have to go through all my books that just have promos in them. Yep. Just double check.
There will no longer be promos.
Because I'd be sad if I
not going to be promos anymore. They're going to be released sets.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be done.
So,
so just as a PSA, again, thanks, Shark. I really do appreciate all the work you do with the Octagon updating. So yeah. I do want to make an announcement that I am going to start doing games, not every day, but I'm going to try to get open lobbies during weekdays at the very least. I want to try to do like 3 or 4 days. So if you guys have cards you want to test out, I'm only going to do playtesting games. So don't expect it to be like my top competitive books or anything like that. But if you want to play your top books, that's totally fine. And I really do want to start like just playing with everybody that plays on Octagon. And, I don't know exactly what times I'm going to be on, but if you're in the Discord or on Octagon and see an open lobby, feel free to just join it if you want to play against me.
Just join it.
Wow, that quote. So that's all I've got.
Yeah, that about covers everything I had on my list of things.
Okay.
We have lists of things.
The list.
There was a list of things in my head, I guess, is what I was considering, but
So I hope I kind of addressed everything we've had here. You know,
I guess we have
we
time to have
hear
any questions from the chat.
you know we hear like opinions about. I feel like almost every single card needing to be changed.
Yep.
So I apologize if we don't get to your specific card, just because we can only do so much. You know, we're already looking
Sometimes
at.
there just isn't room in the set. We only have so much leeway we can do right now.
Yeah, I mean, we can't change the whole game. So you know, like
In some cases, decisions were made because of that limit on cards, right? It's
Yeah.
not like we're trying to be like, well, we could probably have done it a different way if we could design 4 or 5 more cards to make this more viable, whereas we could just change a rule and make it pretty dang close.
yeah. I mean, that is true. There are some things where it's like we're making a big rule change as opposed to making more cards. That's by design in that sense, you know. So everyone join us in chat. I appreciate you guys joining us, and everyone on YouTube.
Absolutely.
You guys all rock. If you guys came from Facebook or anything like that, I'm gonna post a link to our Discord. It's basically an online community where if you want to talk about anything, you don't have to play online. You could just chat about your books and just hang out with Mage Wars people. Check out the YouTube comments below in the description. Yeah,
There's just
stretching.
Discussions going everywhere. So
And no, it seems like someone's always chatting on that Discord. And otherwise, I'm Coshade, and I guess I'll see you guys later. Do you guys want to do a sign off before I end this?
I mean, when in doubt, kill with fire, duh.
Just gonna be the thing that gets said all the time.